Aloha, friends and neighbors. Rollin Frost here, Kona astrologer, and this is the Hawaiian raven, the Alala. Yes, thanks to Jack Wolford, who took this picture, and Shannon Wyanecki, who wrote the story, and Hawaiian Airlines, who published it. Get the last copy of Hawaiian Airlines magazine in the planes, and you will find this picture. Isn't this stunning? Yeah, look at the serious intelligence on the look of this raven's face. This is not a crow. No, this is a raven. What I'm going to bring to your attention right now is, do you see the feathers from the eyeball down towards the beak? See, there's a whole bunch of little feathers, like a fan. The reason they are there is because this crow, for thousands and thousands of years, made its living crawling around in bushes and taking what it could find for food. And so when you're crawling around in bushes have sharp twigs lots of times, and if you've ever done any bush crawling, you find that the one that's most dangerous is the one in front of you that's pointed right at you, because you can't see it very well when it's pointed at you. And it'll come right at your eye. So these feathers evolved on the Alala over thousands of years to protect the eye of this raven as it crawled around in the brush. Yes. It's very distinctive. I don't know if any other raven or anybody, any birds that have this. So now here's the other thing to note about this is, look at the feet. See, look at those claws. Those look like those are amazingly large hands, very muscular, very well protected and calloused, and they're clearly made for hanging on to branches, and like a circus performer swinging around in the trees. That's what these feet are for. This guy could hang upside down and sideways and crawl around in ways that made him very valuable to a Hawaiian, because the inside of a Hawaiian holly, the house, was crisscrossed with all of these very climbing poles that our friend Alala was used to climbing on, and what was above that was the thatched roof. And in the thatched roof lived the little baby rats and the centipedes and the scorpions and all the little critters that this guy would take out of your thatched hut. So, no accident, Captain Cook, when he got to the Big Island, said 200,000 people lived along the Kona coast of the Big Island. He said the west coast and the leeward side. And 200,000 people. He did this by counting the huts. They were offshore in the boat, and they'd sit there and count the huts and multiply times 7 or 8 people to each hut. 200,000 people, he said, lived along the Kona coast. And then a little sidelight, the most common house pet was a large black bird. It's a house pet, folks. Yeah, it's not a crow. You don't know a crow from a raven. It's like saying you don't know a donkey from a horse. Ravens are really smart. They go in pairs. They marry for life. Crows flock. They're noisy. These are intelligent, highly intelligent animals. They found out recently that corvid and the whole family of these birds that goes from your minor bird in Hawaii is very smart, if you haven't noticed. Right up through the crows, the top of the bunch is the raven. They're the smartest birds around. Smartest bird in the world is this alala. Had a huge vocabulary. You see the raven in the movies? During the holidays, you'll see all the Jimmy Stewart movies, and there's a raven on the shoulder of the scientist and so on. That was Billy the Raven, very famous in Hollywood, went in a lot of movies. And his trainer said that he easily had understood 200 words, and once you showed him how to do something, he never forgot. Anyway, you're going to hear a lot more from me about this, because the alala and the nene are both domestic birds, and yet we have a system here set up to save animals going extinct that has made these animals, put them in a very difficult position. Here you read in this article, the manager in charge says, oh yeah, we're going to release 15 birds. Release 15 birds into the wild, trying to get them. They're not going to live in the wild. See, when this raven is in his fledgling stage, it's growing his feathers, he climbs down out of the nest. He goes down on the ground, he walks around on the ground, starts climbing around in bushes. It's like a little kid, that's his job. So, anything on the ground that eats little baby birds, this poor raven doesn't have a chance. And the nene, the goose, similarly, these guys only survived the great bird die-off after Polynesians came in. They're the two, there was 40, 50 species of geese. The nene is the only one came through. There are 4 or 5 species of ravens, all bigger than this guy. And this is the only one that came through. Why did they come through? Because Hawaiians took them in. The nene was in the yard and the raven was in the house. And yet here we are now, stuck with grants and experts and laws that say they got to release these guys into the wild. They just die. They've never had one live in the wild yet. They're still going to keep doing that? They're not releasing them. They're evicting them from their home, folks. So I'm writing a report on it. I've had 2 computer breakdowns. You may have noticed my shows are a mess. Anyway, I persevere, and it's mostly all handwritten now. I got a report. I'm going to send it to everybody, and maybe they'll stop calling him a crow and realize he's a raven. and maybe they'll realize that the nene is domestic. He doesn't belong out in the wild. And the raven is domestic. They don't belong out in the wild. They want to live with you. Look at the intelligence on that face. If you've ever been around a nene, they're regal. They're ali'is also, these Hawaiian birds. They love people. They shouldn't be thrown out in the wild to survive or not. No. They should be put in hotels and farms and ranches and places where people, golf courses where people will take care of them. Well, anyway, your first lesson on the alala, a wonderful Hawaiian raven. To me, besides its intelligence, those fan feathers in front of the eye and the big gnarly clawed hands are the 2 most distinctive features about this raven. And its large vocabulary. Hawaiian raven makes well over 200 different sounds. An old lady who lived in a valley up on the north point of the Big Island where there used to be some alalas way in the back of the valley say at night they sound like crying babies. when you hear alala at night, you never forget it. Well, enough. Let's get back to what's coming up for you. Here's the sky mirror, and I'm going to go through the next 10 days for you, find out what's going on, what applies to your life. There is a new moon coming up at 19 degrees of Capricorn. It happens on the 9th of January. And it kind of switches things over because you've had a whole month since the new moon in December trined Uranus, and brotherhood flowed, and there was common sense all over the joint. People got together. Now we've got a new moon that squares it. People are going to be upset at the homeless, not compassionate. So And there's going to be difficulties with Uranian Aquarian things like all the electronics. Can't believe my computer crashed. I took it in, got it fixed. Island Tech fixed it right up, and then the motherboard crashed because I had a bad power supply. And so anyway, I've been without computer for some time, and now I'm looking at this new moon up the line here saying, uh-oh, I'm going to go and check all my outlets and make sure my power supplies are secure. Anyway, it doesn't start until the 9th, maybe the day before, and in Hawaii especially, this is a difficult situation. You could have high winds, you could have problems with electricity and cable and a lot of stuff. Anyway, big thing, big news for you. Jupiter is stopping, on January 7th. You're sitting on it. You're on the Thursday show, okay? Jupiter's stationed in the sky at 6:41 p.m. Most of the shows in Hawaii come on at 7 p.m. on Thursday, most all the islands. Well, you're sitting right on the Jupiter station. That bird must be Jupiter. I don't know. Anyway, truth and wisdom, aha! That's what Jupiter's wonderful. I call him the lawyer professor when I describe him in personal chart work. That's kind of the way he is. He's like a wise man in a way, and it's earthly wisdom. But he has this way of throwing lightning bolts of truth. Shazam, he says. The professor says, and the students say, now we understand. Da-da-da-da, the lawyer says. And now the jury says, oh, now I see it clearer. By the way, did you know that lightning bolts actually come from the ground up to the sky? They don't come from the sky down to the ground. Yeah, amazing. Well, anyway, a Jupiter station is a big thing. If it's not hitting your chart very well, you're going to overdo things. You might eat too much, laugh too much, be too loud. I mean, what's the worst evil thing that Shock the Rain God or Jove or Jupiter or lawyers and professors do? They pump things up too big, huh? And the lawyer's going to get you $1 million. And when he comes back later, well, it turned out to be a little less, and I got to take my portion too. And anyway, Jupiter always overdoes things. So you're on a night of overdoing things. But aside from that, boy, those lightning bolts of truth, they're beautiful. You can see why all the ancient cultures, the great benefic. So laugh it up. Find some lightning bolts. Be a professor, be a lawyer. You're in that mode right now. Yes. Let's see, the Mercury retrograde, I got a note here. It's retrograde, it goes back to 19 degrees of Capricorn. It squares Uranus at the end of your next week. Trines Jupiter, we're going to go with the lawyer professors and the rich people, and we don't care much for the homeless or the common sense or the other people or the small countries or, the big guys are in favor. People pump you up. Okay, let's look at it day by day. I got a pattern of planets here. I've drawn up the chart for you. And what do we got? We got Venus moving up to hit Saturn tomorrow, the next day. Venus will be on Saturn. It's going to cool your heels over sweets, over love, over sex. If you find out that suddenly you lost your sexual appetite, it's because Venus hit Saturn. Yeah. And the moon is hitting that. You'll feel it strongly on let's see, here's Friday, here's Thursday, Wednesday night, the 6th. Anyway, that's the reason. Venus is a good time to quit sugar. But after you go through this feeling of I'm not getting enough, I don't have enough pleasure, I don't have enough sweets. Look at here Friday in the middle of the day is a square to Jupiter. Thursday on the 7th. And you're going to overdo it. Yep. Can't be helped. Moon shifts into Capricorn on Friday, which is normally a more measured, sober sign, huh? And so the moon sextiles Mars. Get out and get some physical stuff done. You know, exercise is really good for you. Do some physical work and help somebody. Protect something. You'll be happy you do. Late Friday night, here's the sextile to Neptune. Here's, color, art, music, religion, the people, the kings are out. Have fun. Nice Friday. Nice Friday. Saturday, it changes a lot. Here's, in the first part of your day, in the middle of the day, you're going to go by this Uranus-Pluto thing. And Uranus is at 17 and Pluto's at 15, and so it hits Pluto first. Eek, a bug! I'm a little panicky. I don't know, what shall I do? That happens before lunch, really, between breakfast and lunch. Moon goes by Pluto. Police, guns, nuclear weapons. It sets off your reptile brain. You know, don't panic. What do they say? Keep calm and carry on. Well, the Uranus thing comes in later at 17 degrees. That's right here. And, now you're in the middle of Saturday, and there's a short, and the batteries blew out, and the power failed, and it's too windy, and I feel all alone. So here's your panicky Saturday again, aloneness. And in Hawaii, conditions are difficult. The wind blew down your cell phone doesn't work. Maybe as a CME. No, CME wouldn't be so particular to Hawaii. Anyway, the sun is here. There's a new moon coming up for you on Saturday afternoon. And it's quite a nice one. It's in Capricorn, and it trines Jupiter. And so there's a lot of wisdom here in this new moon. Unfortunately, it squares Uranus, and common sense goes away. And the Aquarian spirit's dead in the water for a month. And the rich guys take over. So get rid of Bernie Sanders and let's have more Trump on TV. So Saturday afternoon and evening, look out. There is a trine to Jupiter, but it doesn't really come up until Sunday morning. And your Saturday was pretty traumatic, and Sunday morning isn't too much better, except that, you feel like laughing a little bit at the whole thing. What's that? There's a certain song, I can't play music anymore because of YouTube, but there's clowns on the left of me, jokers on the right, and I'm stuck in the middle again. Well, here you are. So people are clowning, and Sunday morning there'll be laughter and there'll be noise. And you won't like it by the time you get to Sunday afternoon, because here's a square to Mars and Mercury, and people are ticked off and they're angry and they're not able to do what they want. They're impatient. And so this isn't such a hot weekend, folks. Even though the new moon trine Jupiter and it feels like everybody wants to go spend money, it's still a difficult weekend. And finally lets up when the moon goes into Aquarius, which is Sunday, the middle of the day. And even then, there's this anger trip that goes on Sunday afternoon with the square to Mars. And so Monday morning, much better. Look at that. There's Venus and Saturn all settled down. You mean there will be sweets? Maybe some sex Sunday morning? Maybe, if you're careful and responsible. Anyway, there'll be some pleasure and fun, and you'll relax some Monday. And on Monday afternoon, just after lunch, here's a sextile to Uranus. The higher mind comes out. There's brotherhood. Aquarian spirit is going on here. Trouble is, we had that new moon on the 9th, and it squared it, so it's not working as well as it should. Sorry. Continues through Tuesday in the middle of the day when the moon shifts into Pisces. Once that happens, you're in the Neptune zone, and the moon conjuncts Neptune really early Wednesday morning, but it goes by the trine to Mars. See, Mars is over here trining Neptune. All the sports guys will want to wear colorful costumes and lots of music and dance together like a bunch of fish in a flock of sheep. That's the way I see Mars and Neptune. Anyway, you're going to feel it there on Tuesday night, Wednesday morning, and the square to Saturn is there in the middle of Wednesday, and everything slows down, and Venus isn't doing so hot either. So Wednesday, moon in Pisces, it sextiles Pluto. You finally get some control Wednesday afternoon, and early Thursday morning the moon's still in Pisces, and you've got a nice sextile to the sun, so you're getting stuff done. But it opposes Jupiter. I want to get things done, but everybody wants too much, and we're overdoing it all. And that's Thursday morning, the 14th of January. Moon shifts into Aries after dinner, and as you go through Aries, you get to Friday late. Here's the Uranus-Pluto square again. So this time you're considering, it's all about Uranus, it's the electricity, it's the connections, it's I feel all alone, and zap, and now the new moon squared it, so you're not going to be happy with Uranus. Aquarian people, this is not a time to start projects again. Nope. But, we're stuck with it. And you might as well get along. There's a lot of talk and communication problems too. So we can't control it, and there's interruptions, and communication suffers greatly all the way through Friday night into Saturday morning. Saturday morning, finally, there's a trine to Venus, and so maybe you can stay in bed and get a little rest, but you won't get much done because there's a square to the sun here around dinner time on Saturday the 16th. Which would normally be my birthday, but actually, because I'm so old now, usually your birthday is the next day. Your astrological solar return, we call it, is the 17th. January 17th, me and Ben Franklin and Muhammad Ali. You feel like calling your astrologer and wishing him a happy birthday, give me a buzz, January 17th. I'd appreciate it. We're in that lonely month when Uranus is not favored, so... Anyway, I'm going to stay in Hawaii this time, and hopefully Sunday will be a pretty nice day. There's actually a trine to Jupiter, but it doesn't happen until Monday in the middle of the day. There's a sextile to the sun. That doesn't happen till early Monday morning. What else have we got here? Oh, here's an opposition to Mars I didn't mark in. Doggone it, on my birthday. Going to be ticked off at the young guys. Well, so be it. It's the way it is. All right. When my son Matt on Kauai found out I was without computer, he sent me this neat little $50 tablet, and I can get the internet. And it came to I was really getting angry the other day, and suddenly there were all these Russian videos on YouTube about funny animal trips. Now this one has got a bear, and a bird has fallen in the water. And everybody thought, oh, the bear is going to grab him and eat him. But this bear reaches down, grabs the bird out, and saves him. And this is bear now, and the bird, well, looks to me like that bird is a raven. A great buddy for bears and wolves, huh? And an intelligent bird that evidently got some respect. Look at the shape of his bill. You can see it's a little bit like the ala. So if you want some really good laughs, go to YouTube and ask for funny animal videos. And the Russians especially do these amazing, 1 or 2 minute things.
Cat and dog score a big one for cat tonight. A toddler on his bike was ambushed by a neighbor's dog, and then a fearless furball came flying in at lightning speed, ready to rescue a little friend. ABC's David Wright shows all of it caught on camera.
4-year-old Jeremy Triantafilo was riding his bike, minding his own business yesterday, when a neighbor's guard dog appeared out of nowhere. The home security cameras rolling as dog grabbed boy and cat came to the rescue. That's right, cat Watch closely. That black flash on the right side of the frame is Jeremy's kitty cat Tara, pouncing on the pooch, chasing him off.
Here's a bunch of them, dogs and cats protecting babies. Amazing videos. Most of these folks are Russian, and you will laugh. There's so many of them. You know, it's something for you to laugh at a Jupiter station, huh? Finally, a health tip for you. What's in your salt shaker? If what's in there is salt, you might be making a big mistake. And I found that even, well, of course, you know, gluten-free, oh boy, you know, this is big corporate stuff. You look in here, you see, what does it say? It says, when you look at the actual, you know, stuff that's in it, it just says salt. See that? That's all, salt. Salt is sodium chloride to these guys. Even when you look at a so-called health foods, and you look at the thing, and you go through here, it's, you know, what's in here, you know, and what's in here is salt. It's not sea salt, okay? Sea salt is different. Salt is just sodium chloride. And when you eat that stuff, the sodium takes away the potassium. Potassium you need for nerves. A lot of the nerve diseases and the heebie-jeebies and some of the dreadful stuff, maybe even shit like Alzheimer's, you know, is due to potassium things. Doctors don't know about nutrition. But here's iodized sea salt from Hain, and you look back here and it says sea salt, you know, and it says this product is made by evaporating seawater. Seawater has zillions of little things in it that you need, not just potassium in balance with sodium, good for your nerves, but also calcium, magnesium, strontium, uranium. There's all kinds of things in the seawater that you need in your body. In fact, your blood is just seawater. It's all the same salts in the chemistry as ocean water. Did you know that? Not a crow, it's a raven. Why are they using sodium chloride, refined salt? There was a time in America when white rice, white flour, white salt, white sugar had to be white to be pure, and it got crazy.